What's up, YouTube? Today I'm going to be talking about just kind of some things I've learned about blacksmithing and how it can relate to survival and could be a good skill set to learn. So a few months ago, I started kind of like just getting into the world of blacksmithing and learning how to do that because it's a skill that is rare nowadays. But any kind of survival situation, having the knowledge of knowing how to like make tools and repair tools would be super important. Um, so I'll show you kind of some of the things I made and talk about them a little bit. So this was the first knife I made just out of a piece of rebar. And my forge at that time when I made this was literally just charcoal. And I had a hair dryer as my bellows. And I used, that's been magnetized because I've had it on a magnet so they're sticking together. But my bellows was a hair dryer, which you can make different kinds of bellows. Something even as simple as someone with a pipe or several people with pipes blowing air into the charcoal can work as a bellows. So you can do it very simply. And then my anvil was literally a concrete paver, and with that I was able to make this knife and literally no power tools, just sharpening it on sandpaper and everything. I was able to make this knife, which it is rebar. It's a mild steel, so it loses its edge pretty quickly, but it is sharp enough and it's easy to repair because it is softer. So if it gets dull, you can easily sharpen it up again. But yeah, it's effective enough, and being able to do that with literally just simple stuff you could recreate even in a survival situation is pretty cool. Since then, I have a better setup now. I have a small little anvil and a propane forge, and some more power tools. And part of that is I'm trying to learn the technique without having to spend so much time on just sanding something for an hour. I can do it with a belt sander, but still understand that in a situation where I didn't have electricity, I could go back to using sandpaper or sanding stone or something like that to the same effect, just over a longer amount of time. But otherwise, learning the skills, even with modern equipment, that's still something that can translate over to survival situation and be useful. So this was the second knife I made. I made this one out of a lawnmower blade, so it's a little bit better quality steel, but still not a super great knife steel. This one too, I didn't have a sander at the time, so all of the blade stuff was done by hand. And I actually used this to skin and quarter a deer, and it worked really well. I got it very sharp. It's a little bit duller now after that, but yeah, very effective. And yeah, again, not a lot of like power tools or anything for that. Here's a little knife that's not quite done yet. Just a little belt knife or a neck knife sort of deal. I'm going to put a handle on it and finish up the blade and stuff. It's still not quite done. This I have to use more power tools on now that I have my my belt sander and a few other things, my angle grinder. So it makes things a little bit more efficient. That was also from a lawnmower blade. I think the same one as this one. And in between these two, I made a Tonto out of a lawnmower blade with more modern tools. Got it extremely sharp, turned out really good. I actually gave that one away to a friend. Here's the latest thing I've made. It's a tomahawk I made out of a ball peen hammer. Not super clean or pretty, but very effective. It took a long time to forge, even with modern stuff. But yeah, chops really good. My stump outside, I could sink the head literally all the way down to the base, and same with the back spike. So really good tomahawk. Took a lot of work to make, but I was happy with the way it turned out. I could probably make a few changes next time with it. That's one thing you learn about blacksmithing by doing it is, every time you make something, you learn 10 things, and next time you can go back and make something even better the next time. I've made some other tools too. Here's just a little chisel that I made. I can make something like this literally in 30 minutes or less. But being able to just like quickly make tools you need like that is a pretty cool skill. That chisels come in handy lots of times, and instead of having to go buy a $10 chisel. I can literally just make one with any kind of scrap steel or stuff that's laying around for free. And that's kind of the same deal with this. I'm wanting to start making bows and things too, like traditional bows. And for that, one thing you need is a draw knife. So I pretty much just took a piece of rebar, and like I said, not the best knife steel, but it's what I have lying around. And this is kind of the prototype, but yeah, just kind of smashed down that middle part and sharpened it up, and was able to get this thing really pretty sharp, and it's effective as a draw knife. So instead of having to buy, that specialty draw knife that's kind of hard to find, I can make one up in the forge pretty quick. And if I order a little better steel or find some better steel, I could probably make an even better, more durable one. And another thing too, just for basic tools and stuff, going back to that kind of idea of like a survival situation, here's a punch I made and hardened out of, again, just a piece of rebar. And I use this when making my tongs here to punch the hole. But being able to make tools like that, and that's basically the same thing as a large nail. I can make smaller nails, all different sizes, very quickly. So if you needed to construct something, you didn't have all the finished materials and hardware and stuff you need. If you can forge, you can quickly make something up like that and make all the nails you need, which I think is going to be a very important skill in that kind of situation. And then this pair of tongs I made. I actually made this. This is my second pair of tongs. My first ones ended up breaking after a while. They saw a lot of use, but I actually made that pair of tongs without having a pair of tongs, which was a little bit tricky, and that's probably why it didn't turn out quite as clean as it could have otherwise. I need to make another pair while these pair are still functioning, but yeah, being able to make something like that, useful skill. Some other things I've been working on. This is 1095, like higher carbon good knife steel. I used more of a stock removal method on these, which is also something you could recreate in a survival situation with a sanding stone, as long as you had some kind of a saw to cut the material out. But basically, how it works versus regular blacksmithing is you have the stock material, so like a bar of steel, and then you kind of just cut the shape out of it and then sharpen it up. So these two aren't done yet either. I'm gonna put handles on them. They're gonna probably turn out pretty nice, be Christmas presents for people. This one is an old medieval style Seeks. It was kind of or Sax, the kind of the old school Bowie knife, all-purpose kind of like camping knife. And then this is kind of like the Mora Companion, which is based off the Gotland knife, another Scandinavian knife. I've got a few others I'm working on too that aren't quite to this stage yet. But yeah, even just knowing stock removal, that's probably a good place to start rather than blacksmithing, just to kind of learn the function of putting an edge on something before you move on. But knowing that one can be useful as well. So yeah, I just kind of want to show you guys what I've been up to, some skills I've been working on. Maybe you can take inspiration from this and kind of get into blacksmithing too. You can really get started with hardly anything. A hammer, something hard to use as an anvil, and just charcoal and something to blow on it can get you started. And yeah, so it's been a pretty fun process, and I'm hoping to learn more and come out with a lot better stuff soon. Well, I hope you all have a good day.